Okay, so we're just going to simplify these, right? Just using the properties that we kind of learned yesterday. So I should have a to the 6th and b squared. That should be it. Number 2 should be 3 times 5 is 15, x cubed, y to the 9th. And then we should get number 3, 5 to the 3rd power is 125, x to the 6th, y to the negative 9th, which is going to be 125 x to the 6th over y to the 9th. Questions? Awesome. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to simplify the inside, and I'm going to get 2 y to the 6th over x cubed, all to the negative 1. So that means my answer should be x cubed over 2y to the 6th. Okay? And then number 5, let's see if I simplify. I'm going to simplify the inside again. I'm going to get 4x squared over z to the 4th, y to the 2nd. And then flip it, and I should get z to the 4th, y squared over 4x squared, all squared. So z to the 8th, y to the 4th, 16 x to the 4th. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, any questions? All right, so we're moving on from exponents to roots now. So we're going to start talking about some square roots. So for each number, find all of its square roots. So what's all of the square roots of 100? If I just take the square root of 100, what are all the roots? What is everything that could equal the square root of 100? Is that the only answer? So what is the definition of a root, right? The definition is of 2 of the same number multiplied together that gives me that 100. So is there another number that I multiply together exactly and get 100? Yes, there is. Do you know what that number is? Yeah, negative 10. Good. Because negative 10 times negative 10 is also positive 100, right? So there's always 2 roots. Most of the time we don't use the negative 1. That's why everyone always thinks there's only 1, which is 10. But there's always 2 roots. There's always the positive and the negative. But usually especially in real life, when we're using roots, we hardly ever use the negative 1 because, we're mostly using square roots for distance and stuff. And of course, distance can't be negative. So that's why we hardly ever think about the negative 1. But there's always a negative and a positive. Okay, so if it just says find the square root, then it usually just wants the positive 1, but this one says find all of its square roots, so it wants both the positive and the negative. Yeah? Okay, so what's the square root of 225? You can get a calculator, you get your calculator, or go on Desmos on your computer or on your phone. Anybody at home know the answer to the square root of 225? 15. So what are all my roots? Good, 15 and negative 15. Perfect. So go ahead and do A, B, and C. So what's the square root? What are all the roots of 121? Somebody? Anybody? Oh, Jay just got them. Plus or minus 11. Beautiful. You can write it that way also, right? I can write it one way. What about 2,500? What did you guys come up with? Nobody in class is going to answer me? Okay. JJ has them. Plus or minus 50. And then 625 is plus or minus 25. Okay, beautiful. Not too bad, right? Basically, just get out your calculator. Okay, guys. Awesome. Okay, so this is simple. It's just asking me to simplify. It does not say find all of it, so I only need the positive one when they're asking me to simplify. So here, what's the square root of 49? 7. Okay, what's the negative square root of 100? Oh, nice, Harrison. I was looking at your string of numbers going, what? So there's a negative on the outside, so it'll be negative. And then the square root of 100 is 10. So it's just negative 10. And it's negative 10 because this negative is on the outside. What's the square root of 4? What the heck? 4/9. Ooh. Yeah, 2/3. Harrison, I'm not sure how you got 3/5. But the square root of 4 is right. I can separate it out, so I just do the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. So the square root of the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of 9 is 3. Awesome. So a little bit harder. Whew. What's the square root of 0.36? 0.6. Beautiful. Nice job, Sione. Okay, now it's your turn. Yep. So I don't know why they don't have letters at the top. Probably. So the square root of 144 is 12. And the square root of 36 over 49 is 6/7. And this is negative 14. And this is 0.04. I think that's what that last one is. No. So, because remember when you multiply decimals together, you would have how many decimals that you have when you multiply. So I would have to have, if I have 0.04 times 0.04, that gives me 4 decimal places, right? Okay. I had to figure out how to say that in my head before I said it out loud. Okay. So this next part kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. It's just long. It doesn't suck. So it says, for each function, find the specified function value if it exists. This is not one of those problems where I choose one of the F1, F2, F of 3, F of 2, F of 1, F of negative 1. I actually have to do it 4 times. Okay? So I'm going to find out what F of 3 is. So I'm going to take 3, right? And I'm going to, wherever there's a t in my function, I'm going to put 3. And then I'm going to do it with 2 and 1 and negative 1. And I'm going to see if it exists. Why does it say if it exists? We're going to pretend we don't know. We're not going to pretend. We're just going to say we don't know negative square root, right, exists right now. We know that it's I, right? But we haven't done it yet. So we're just going to, if it's a negative inside the square root, we're going to say it doesn't exist at this point. Okay? So all I'm going to do is just plug this in. So I'm going to have the square root of 5 times 3 minus 10. So I should get the square root of 15 minus 10, which equals the square root of 5. I think that's correct. And then I'm going to do it again for f. How did it get to there? F of 2. And I'm going to go the square root of 5 times 2 minus 10. So the square root of 10 minus 10. Square root of 0 or 0. And then we've got f of 1. And f of 1 equals the square root of 5 times 1 minus 10, which equals the square root of 5 minus 10, square root of negative 5, does not exist. D&E. Wow. Okay. Does not exist. And then the last one, f of negative 1 is going to equal the square root of 5 times negative 1 minus 10. So square root of negative 5 and negative 15 again does not exist. Okay? Questions? Not too bad? That's all we're doing, right? So we have a couple of those for you guys to do. Okay, we have one of those for you guys to do. I thought we had more. That's what I get for thinking. So go ahead and get that done. Like, I still need leg room though, so I'm still debate. That's my big debate about it. Okay, let's do f of negative 6. I haven't done the math in my head yet, so hopefully I've figured it out. I'll probably subtract wrong, by the way, you guys. 36 minus 25. Oh no, I think that's the square root of 11. Boom. Okay, so f of 3 squared minus 25, 9 minus 25, negative 16. Is that right? Yeah. Does not exist. F of 6 equals f of negative 6, which is the square root of 11. Boom. Just want to do that. I didn't want to do the math again. It's the same, though, in this particular case. And then f of 13 squared minus 25. 169 minus 25. Square root of 144. Is that right? 12? Woo. What? Sorry. So JJ, if you can't answer, I've been telling people just do SQRT in front of it, so it'd be SQRT 11 in the chat box. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that. I thought we haven't talked about square roots yet in the chat. So yeah, and if it would be a cube root, just say CBRT, whatever, just abbreviate it, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to simplify these. Now we're involving variables instead of just numbers, right? So it's the same concept, only if we've got a variable. So the square root of 100x would be the square root of 100 is, sorry, that's x squared, wow. Okay, the square root of 100 is 10, and the square root of x squared is, x. It's the same concept, right? Underneath the square root, I need 2 of the same thing to bring one out. So as long as I have 2 of the same thing, I can bring one of those things out. So the square root of 8 minus t squared, well, I have 2 8 minus t's inside my square root, so I can bring one 8 minus t out, okay? So then I have this beautiful, big, long thing here, but I'm going to see if I can factor it here. Expression. Wow. Okay. What multiplies to be 4 adds to be negative 4, negative 2, and negative 2. So that'd be the square root of x minus 2 squared, or x minus 2. Wow. Okay. This must have been before I was doing the A, B's, and C's very well. Okay. So a cube root is similar to a square root, right? Instead of having 2 of the same thing underneath the root, I need to have 3 of the same thing. If it was a 4th root, I'd have to have 4 of the same thing. If it was a 100th root, I'd have to have 100 of the same thing. Does that concept make sense? Are we okay with that? I know that we've done this before, or you guys have done this before, but that's kind of how that works, right? Whatever this little number is out here, I have to have that many things inside to bring one thing out, right? So I have a cube root. I have negative 1,000. So I'm just going to kind of come over here and factor negative 1,000, which I know is I'm going to say negative 10 times 100. Okay? And if I factor 100, well, that's 10 times 10. But that doesn't give me 3 of the same number, right? But I do know that negative 10 times negative 10 is also positive 100. So now that gives me 3 negative 10s. Are we okay? So the cubed root of negative 1,000 would be, and there's a minus on the outside, would be negative 10. So my answer is 10. Good morning, Janae. Did you have to help your brother to class again today?
No, I don't.
The fourth root of 6a to the fourth is just 6a. And the square root of negative 25, at this point in time, we're going to say does not exist because you cannot have the square root of a negative number, right? So right now we're saying it doesn't exist. Questions? Is everyone okay so far? Awesome. Pop over here for just a second. All right. Oh, there are letters for you guys to do. Okay, I did this page right. Okay, so the square root of 25x squared, my examples are not very good today. 5x, awesome. The cubed root of 27. Anybody know what the cubed root of 27 is? 3. 3. Okay, and then I can rearrange this. I'm going to rearrange this one to become x squared minus 6x plus 9. I can just rewrite it in a different order, right? As long as I keep the signs the same. And then I'm going to factor two numbers that add to be 9, multiply to be 9, add to be negative 6, negative 3, and negative 3. So I get the square root of x minus 3 squared, which equals x minus 3. Okay, so that's it. You guys have, wow, a whole bunch of problems. Okay, C through L to do. So, zoom on the first row here. So the square root of 16t squared should be 4t. The ninth root of t to the ninth should equal t. And the fourth root of 7b to the fourth should be 7b. Questions? Nice job, JJ. You even got everything typed in. Okay, D, the square root of y squared plus 16y plus 64 should be y plus 8. The 414th root of a plus b to the 414th should be a plus b. I should have equal signs in here. Okay, and then the 221st root of 2ab to the 221st should be just 2ab, 2a plus b. I said 2ab, didn't I? Whew. Okay, questions so far? Are we okay? Awesome. Okay, G, this should be 4x, negative 7c, and a plus 1. If you have any questions, make sure you're asking me to go over these, and I will. Thank you. Okay. J should be the third root of negative 64 is negative 4x, so that should be negative 4x. And then the square root of x minus 2 to the 8 should be x minus 2 to the 4th. No need to multiply that out, although JJ, good job. And then negative a to the 7th. Questions? We okay? You guys good? Jesus, you good? Are you sure? Positive. Okay. Awesome. Okay.